When you're down a game is curious here in OMG. They banned Gargus as the first one. Apparently they were planning this all along.
Okay, so here we go. New AD carry sub. Completely, we talked about how OMG already kind of re-identifying themselves this game as opposed to what they were doing early on the split. Now they get to do it again.
Yep, again and again here is Victor banned away from RNG. Echo will be banned. I like that choice there from OMG, giving that one away from MLXG. Kalista banned against North. Again, don't know anything about the player just yet, so hard to say if it's nearly as strong as Uzi's, but, you know, certainly a strong champion worth a ban regardless, as Rise is going to eat another ban.
Now, the thing that's going to be curious is how it's going to change the dynamic between the bot lane and the jungler. So, obviously, Loveling spent a lot of time down babysitting Uzi. So, will he do the same thing for North, or will he go back to his old love of spending time with Cool?
Yeah, Cool, and he's ganking a lot from Xiang there as well. I feel like, in general, Loveling has been more topside focused. That was just a different game one for OMG, where they were clearly very deep onto the get Uzi ahead train. Sivir was the last ban from RNG though, which does leave OMG with their trusty first pick, Maokai. But RNG can now consider, do they want to take a champion away from Cool? What do they want? They've got the Alistar open as well. Plenty of strong champions. You can see analysts kind of scrambling to make sure Sky and MLXG pick the right champions. And they will take Rek'Sai as the first one. I love watching analysts panic, by the way. It's my favorite.
No, that one. Vayne?
Especially in the... This isn't a mixed language team as well, remember? Like, there's no translator here for the Korean players because these are both Chinese squads. As the Rek'Sai are the pickups here. But watching, like, especially when it's a Korean player who has to pick a champion, he's, like, translating through the Chinese coach to the interpreter. There are some panic moments. But it seems like they got the right champions. Yeah,
especially Shahu going back to his tried and true comfort pick in Azir. He played Azir before it was the big champion on the block. Obviously, Azir shooting up at MSI and his relevancy.
I mean, just a great champion in general. I do like the pick away from Cool especially, so I like what's going on here for RNG. What does Cool want to respond with here is Alistar has actually been picked up for Amazing. He's going to take that champion again, and North's going to get Jinx here for this game, going to a hyper carry.
Okay, we'll see what the last two picks are in terms of creating space. They've already got great disengage with Alistar as well as Maokai for creating space with the, I forget what his ultimate's called. Maokai.
It's a really silly name.
It's completely...
I'll figure it out.
Anyway, Maokai's a great space creating champion. He offers a lot of peel for his AD carry as well as hard engage potential, so they've already set up a perfect front line for a champion
Vengeful
like Jinx.
Maelstrom.
There we go.
That's Maokai's ultimate. There we go. Yeah, I mean, I like that. They've got plenty of good tools. This is a lot of what their setup was last game, honestly. Get Uzi on a relatively strong late game carry. They've got North this time, so he's going to be on even harder carry there on Jinx, but good protection so far. Doesn't give too much away, but I love the response from RNG. They're going to go straight back to the lane they just won with the Corki Thresh.
It already worked for them, so why change it? And I like the fact that they were okay with letting Alistar go, because they knew that they were going to prioritize the Thresh. And the thing is Nautilus was still available, and Lei would still rather go to that Thresh because it offers so much more versatility of disengage versus hard engage.
Yeah, I mean, we saw in the last game there, all the playmaking between himself and MLXG just feels essential to this team. Like, we want to talk about Amazing as being an initiator, but maybe still learning the ropes as far as support goes. Lei is far and away one of this team's big playmakers here. As OMG going to consider their last few picks here. We're going to get Cassio for call. I like the response. No, he's swapping to Ari, and Lotling's going to Nocturne.
Wow. Okay, so hard carry jungle time this time from Loveling, and that's the thing. Loveling built his reputation on being an aggressive jungler. You have to think back when Elise was very powerful. Loveling popularized taking a Doran's Blade, doing your buff, and then immediately running into the enemy jungle and then killing the enemy jungler. His whole thing was, if I kill the enemy jungler, then wherever I gank on the lane, I know a counter gank, I'll win because they're already behind.
Yep.
In his most recent last split, the last time we saw him on OMG, he actually was playing more tank-based jungler, so it's nice to kind of see him go back to his roots with the Evelynn and now the Nocturne.
I mean, even his Gragas has been much more different, much more aggressive and bruiser-oriented with the WMAX there as well. So Loveling clearly back to his old styles, found a way to make it work in this metagame, and we have seen Cinderhulk. It's not out of the meta, but it's dropped away as far as, you know, you must play only hardcore tanks like Sejuani, like full tank Rek'Sai. We've seen this a lot from Swift, actually, I think, has been the player that pulled out Nocturne recently. Curious to see what he does with it. As Sky did get Hecarim, by the way. It's the last pick there with the Smite. So, again, another nice late game carry top laner.
Sky's not the greatest Hecarim player, though. It wasn't really one of his fallbacks. It was mostly, you know, Gnar, Sion, things like that. Aurelia, he was a great Aurelia player.
Yeah, well, we'll see how he does on the Hecarim here. Up against Xiang with the Maokai. Should be a lot of farming happening there in that lane. We'll move to the jungle now as well. This is probably the exciting part. Loveling going Going to put the team on his back with Uzi out of the team and North substituting in. Hard carry Nocturne versus MLXG's very nice Rek'Sai.
And I like its synergy with Ari. So we talked about what is going to be the relationship between the bottom lane and the jungler this time around since Uzi isn't in that lane. And if you think about the old school 2013 OMG, their identity was about the bromance between Cool and Loveling. And right now, Ari and Nocturne sync so well. If he finds a pick and Nocturne's anywhere in that area, immediately assassinate.
Yeah, and that's going to leave the self-sufficient bottom lane there. The Jinx, Alistar for North, the sub-AD carry, and amazing their support up against the Thresh. Corki once more. Can Whoosh do it again and really get ahead with the help of his support and jungler, or is North going to bring something different to this team?
MLXG may not be on the Echo this time around, but he is on Rek'Sai, a very high aggressive champion, so it gives him the same tools.
Well, we'll see if RNG can take the 2-0 and the 3 points. We're going to get ourselves onto the Rift for game number 2. And welcome back here as we get into our second game between OMG and RNG. RNG find themselves up a game here in this best of 2, and changes abound here for OMG. North in the sub-AD carry playing Jinx. Loveling playing Nocturne here, and Cool's back on an assassin like Ari. Things have changed for OMG in game 2, but we talked about diversity. Showed a bit of it in game 1 by funneling more resources onto Uzi. Let's just go even deeper this time, and then down a game as well.
Yeah, and to think, we are in the middle, just over the middle of the season. OMG are placed nicely. They're not in any threat of dropping out of playoff range, so it makes sense that they would be more experimenting with kind of their compositions and even their roster.
Yeah, I mean, again, Uzi a fine player, but get your subs playtime. You need to find somewhere in the regular season to do so as RNG. Another 5-man invade. They get a ward down onto the Krogs. They're looking to ward down the lane there as Sky's going to move in for that particular ward. And again, it's just vision all around, but OMG with some nice wards of their own spot them coming in.
Do manage to get a ward onto the red buff, so they have answered it with, again, placing down vision to make sure that they know which side RNG will start their jungle on. And obviously, it's just important to figure out where your jungler is starting so you can kind of plan out where they're going to gank and play appropriately.
It is indeed here, and I like that Cool's kind of faked back there. He's like, oh, I don't really want to walk that way, knowing that the team was probably there.
I'll go around.
Already happened in the last game. We had a first blood there around the jungle buff. RNG have been good at level 1, but instead they'll just look to take away this red. They've got 2 smites, so this will be a fairly trivial task. Although Amazing is looking to challenge here.
So is North. He's coming around the back of the pit.
Amazing. Does he have his pulverize? Should have it skilled up. Actually gets them off the buff here. I think RNG think there are a couple more people coming through. Smite goes down there. That should go over. But now they're actually going to get aggressive. Pulverize lands in. Rek'Sai going to take some damage. Sky getting low, but they'll get out with the buff.
They managed to get the buff, and did they kill both of the mini creeps? Because it still shows that the red buff is up.
I'm going to say no, if
oh,
that's the case.
That's really unfortunate for Loveling. That said, he will get the timer and take that away from MLXG, so they shouldn't be able to contest on second rotation, but I feel like it was a bit of a mistake there for Amazing and North not to reset that buff, especially because they could pick up the free experience and taking it into the 2v2.
I think Loveling's just hoping he doesn't get 3 buffed again, honestly. That's exactly how the last game started here. Managed to cover well, though, and still make an impact early on, but needs to find something here as he's actually going to his red buff. He knows it's gone, but he just doesn't want to challenge the jungler.
He just got to clear it, and it was a really nice job from Xiaohu to make sure that at that moment he pushed forward into Cool, and then he immediately took the time to run over to his red buff and make sure that Loveling wasn't there. So again, RNG pulling off a beautiful 3 buff.
Yeah, again, they'll get the nice level 1 5-man stack off, and then into some really strong counter jungling there. North and Amazing, though, sitting slightly down in experience as Lay's hit level 2, but they'll be there soon. They might look for an all-in, but Whoosh will be about to hit level 2 himself as he gets 1 last creep, and things will just neutralize back to normal in the bottom lane.
Big shoes to fill for North here,
yeah.
Filling in for Uzi, especially on the Jinx. So very dependent champion on his team, but has such high snowball and carry potential, especially late game threat. Really curious how he's going to play this one.
And look, Uzi to me is not really a Jinx player.
Yeah.
Like, he can play the champion. I'm confident in that.
He can play any champion.
Yeah, but it's not something we readily associate with Uzi. So, you know, having maybe a more stable Jinx player, again, don't know too much about North's history, can only speculate right now, but if he has a good game here, it's just nice that OMG have more weapons, because that's been our biggest criticism, honestly, is the lack of diversity.
Yeah, I feel like it would almost be a relationship like Martin and Crystal on Snake. Crystal is a very specific, Draven, hyper. It's weird because he plays hyper carries, but Jinx was never really one of his champions, neither was Sivir. Now, recently Crystal has opened up his champion pool, but they have the sub-AD carry in Martin, who is a very well-known Jinx player, so kind of a similar relationship, at least if North pays off here.
Yeah, we'll see how it works out. Amazing. Still back in the lane. Might be, again, also a synergy thing with the duo lanes here. Could also be something to consider, but we'll see how it shakes out. We look through the other lanes now. Cool equal on CS there, so Xiaohu and Cool just having a bit of a farm off in the early stages, and even in the top lane means that the big winner actually right now is Loveling in the jungle. Just power farming on the Nocturne, despite the 3 buff.
Yeah, actually really surprising because he did get 3 buff, but it kind of just speaks to Nocturne and how many tools he has to power farm. And typically this is what you see. His gank potential isn't really going to be there until he's level 6, which surprising that MLXG has been so quiet for so long. RNG, of course, setting up there as he is on the flank here.
Yep, down in the bottom side, actually taking away some camps, but a level behind, actually. Cool. Loveling has done a great job power farming the small camps by the looks of things.
Yeah, and he's now setting up for a gank, although MLXG would be in the area. Okay, both of them are going to back off. Yeah,
Loveling actually, I think, looking for Raptors more than anything else, but doesn't find them. Might go top side for the Krugs. He gets a lot of value out of the gift of heavy hands, the smite buff. You get away from the Krugs. Saw that when he was clearing his wolves earlier. But Lei lining up something here. MLXG's down. Good chompers down for North, though. Flash Hook's going to land. Wow. Good prediction. Now North going to get knocked around, and first blood once again goes to MLXG.
The prediction on the flash. Poor North burns his summoner straight into the death sentence. And it was almost kind of a fumble as well, a miscommunication of Amazing, that he actually popped Lei out of the chompers that would have locked him up. So unfortunate.
Unfortunate indeed.
Unfortunate, but amazing.
Another 80 carry ends up dead to MLXG to start things off. He has been having a really good start to both these games. Double 3 buff, double first blood. Was on Echo last time, a big playmaking champion. Can he get it done on the Rex size? Cool. Taking a beating from Zhao, who's level 6 with the blue buff in the mid lane.
Yeah, and it's really just the EXP discrepancy between these two mid laners. Zhao, who having that Emperor's Device. Loveling, what you doing?
He wants farm.
Hello?
Oh, that's not good. Ulted back. Loveling now forced to flash away, gets knocked up by MLXG. Riding the Dustbringer out. It is just enough with Amazing there for a last-minute heal. But that was way too close, Loveling.
Not quite sure why he decided to walk in front of...
He really wanted farm.
The enemy laner.
Really badly. Like, probably too badly by the looks of things there. Amazing instead will be the one to collect that said farm. But RNG is still grouping. There's 3 of them in the Raptor camp. They'll spot Amazing. He'll flash. Lei doesn't get the prediction this time, but Lei and the early Moby Boots doesn't even have them this time. He's been doing a great job roaming in these games as well. Fantastic
pressure and coordination from MLXG and Xiaohu. They've been in complete control over the mid lane and the jungle respectively against Cool and Loveling.
Yeah, which is surprising. I mean, Cool definitely had his run of the lane in the last game, but Xiaohu just kept his cool and was able to keep it nice and neutral. MLXG, though, he's been all over the map, even in the mid lane now, covering the lane, taking a bit of extra farm away, catching up on Loveling, who's been doing a lot of heavy farming. We saw the misstep before with Nocturne. They're both sort of racing to level 6. Loveling especially needs that to be really gank efficient with his ultimate. And North starting to fall behind in the bottom lane. Whoosh seems very self-sufficient on this Corki.
Yeah, it's also really difficult to lock down Corki as the Alistar. Now, naturally, if you time your Pulverize combo effectively, you can interrupt the Valkyrie, but typically Amazing's going to go in, he's going to find his combo, and then Whoosh is just going to reset his positioning with the Valkyrie. Yeah. And there's not a ton of follow-up that North can really provide on this Jinx. I mean, effectively you're looking for your chompers, but you have to time that so perfectly. Yeah, and it's just tricky. We've seen a lot of Jinx thresh lanes tie people down with a big CC chain, but North just going to be content farming. Does have a pickaxe, so able to last hit nicely under towers. They're diving the mid lane now. Xiaohu does not find that gap close, does go over the top. Cool though, going to follow him in. A great Q there to follow as he flashes out from MLXG, and a nice 2-man gank in the mid lane. We asked how would North being brought onto the roster change the dynamic of where jungle pressure was going to be signed up. Immediately Loveling picks the Nocturne, and now we have our answer. It is with the synergy on Cool. So going back to his tried and true, I'm going to call it a bromance, because that's what it is. It is a bromance here, and Cool with the blue buff now might challenge MLXG, but a flash on Burrow. Lei riding in here as well. Cool's got no gap closers left, but Loveling finds his way back in, gets grabbed up though, unborrowed, and the flay means Cool has to come back in and make sure it's okay. Charm does land, Orbit Deception just short though, and they'll be safe for now. As in the top lane, we'll have a bit of a battle, but this one's probably not going to go nearly the same way. I think Xiong's winning. Xiong's doing a nice job pressuring Sky on this Maokai in both games, to be honest, but it is really hard to get a kill as Maokai without a jungler. Oh, yeah. especially on the Hecarim, because he's just going to be so quick and he can pretty much walk away Maokai at any time that he chooses, especially if he has this onslaught of Shadow. So shouldn't see a ton of kill pressure there without either junglers getting involved.
No.
Lei, though, again, sticking true to his stat, highest kill participation of any support in the league, and he is so impressive on this Thresh.
He is, and you can tell why they prioritized it so highly in the series. Is they're actually going to get the mid lane tower. OMG rarely lose the first tower, but today they will lose the mid lane.
Again, OMG get the first tower 75% of the time. The next closest team is EDG at 63.
Well, percentage going to drop a bit now for OMG after that little scuffle, but North in the bottom side actually has an Avarice Blade here, just farming away happily. Still behind Woosh on farm by a fairly significant margin, but he knows what he needs to do. Just get his farm and secure his mid to late game. Ooh.
That said, RNG are taking advantage of the power spike that Lucian has immediately following, especially because he has so much control in that lane, has the Sheen available to him, and translate that into a dragon.
There's still 20 CS up as Cool's trying to get this Sun turret out of the way. Will push it away for himself, building in towards that first major item of the Morello Nomicon, but Xiaohu doing the same, also quite close. They're pretty even on CS as Xiaohu going to get himself a blue buff in and amongst all that. And it's just that first structure, really. RNG again, one dragon up, one tower up, and a slight gold lead, 600. Which is not big, but it's something. It's about how the last game started, I feel.
Yeah. I mean, the big thing, though, is that RNG found their huge snowball off of counter ganks to Loveling's transparent pathing this time around, again, focusing much more on Cool. And we say that, but there's only really been one gank, but it was to Cool, and he is hanging around the mid laner right now.
Yeah, the first gank was good. RNG, though, answered nicely. I like that MLXG sort of tracking the enemy jungler. He's done a good job of really knowing where Loveling's going to be and just playing to that constantly in the series. Nothing amazing though, going to push things up as Loveling looking for a gank in the bottom side. Will get spotted by a ward. Cool's down here as well. Amazing. Cleanses off that hook. They will go for the dive, but the teleport's down. Good double flare, but Loveling is going to dive straight in. Cool. Going to look for the cleaner. Onslaught of Shadows down, but Woosh getting locked up forever. Will be the first one to fall. Amazing barely lives after tanking the tower, and now Xiang has to get out of the way, but he gets thrown back by Xiaohu. Twisted advance resets Tower though. He flashes out. Cool. Still looking for another kill as they're doing so much damage, but it's not enough. Just 2-0 for OMG.
Amazing actually flashback in, trying to find the pulverize onto Xiaohu. Misses it, so Xiaohu saves his life. But the big reason why that all went down is because MLXG showed on the pink ward in the top lane. And as soon as they had the information that he wasn't there and they had heard the Void Rush go down, they knew that there was no chance of a counter gank. That is classic 2013 OMG. Pull the trigger on the tower dive.
And looks good there. Lovely and Cool teaming up once again, this time for something a bit different, as they gank the bottom lane and give their AD carry and their mid laner a killer piece there in that exchange. No objectives, probably the big takeaway there for OMG. Unable to lock any sort of tower advantage down, but they'll swing the gold lead back to about 400 up, and we've got a game for us, Garena.
This is classic OMG identity. So how their team used to be constructed when they had Gogoing, San, and Dada, I'll say Dada 7, or Cloud, the rotating support roster that they had, is that their bot lane was always just a self-sufficient, zero resources econ bot lane. They would leave it alone and go, Loveling would bounce between Gogoing and Cool to find his leads, and then they would go and pick up their bot lane in big tower dives like that.
MLXG locked up now, gets beard by Loveling. Cool looks for a charm, but does throw some damage in. Lantern will keep him safe. Lei's been on point with his roams all series long. But OMG will clear out some vision and some tunnels out of their jungle and make sure everyone gets out safely.
Still looking comfortable. That said, RNG doing a fantastic job. They're not behind despite the fact that OMG have 2 more kills than them. The gold is actually just about even. And like you said, MLXG has done a great job tracking Loveling and trying to use that information as effectively and efficiently as possible in his counter ganks.
Oh, Void Rush actually down to the bottom side, might be lining up a tower dive. OMG, they ping down, they know what's going on, but Loveling, ulti not back up just yet, and he's on the wrong side of the map. North and Amazing playing it nice and far back behind their outer turret, but MLXG gives it up.
And the play and the thought was because they knew that Cool and Loveling were on the blue buff since they saw Cool exit that direction from the mid lane since creeps were pushed forward. So again, using that information, they looked for the opportunity. OMG did a great job making sure that they backed off the tower so they didn't allow it, but still kind of the same thing going.
Like this revisit though from MLXG, North has to pick up CS here. He fell 30 behind as this wave was pushing in. That was a nice crit though, able to clean up the whole wave as it comes under. Now only 20 behind, but they're pulling the wave again. Lei and Woosh are really bullying this new bottom lane.
But they're spending so much time down there that it's allowing Loveling and Cool to get into position as we see them rotating through the jungle.
Yeah, gonna look for another pick here. Xiaohu though might catch him in transition, but has to be careful not to get caught himself. As we do see the early itemization for the junglers coming out. MLXG, Stalker's Blade for the Chilling Smite with the Cinder Hulk, and Trailblazer there for Loveling with the same enchantment, but I wonder where Loveling's going to go with the rest of his build. Does he go tanky, or does he go to Swift Way and just go massive damage afterward?
Kind of seems like he's going tanky. We'll see if that transitions into Merc Treads or possibly even a Hex Drinker. It's always about the long swords. I find it curious that he decided to go Trailblazer into Cinderhulk as opposed to a Warrior enchantment, but it makes sense because he's been so focused on power farming, and a Nocturne does that very effectively with his Q.
Yeah, this is the big thing we've seen from the Nocturne players in the LPL as well. It's been more about, you know, the one tanky item and then going for full damage. Whether or not Loveling goes that route, I guess is yet to be seen, but Dragon up in a minute 15. Teams both setting up for it. And like you mentioned, it's been a very, very even gold lead so far after the first few exchanges.
More importantly is the fact that North is slowly starting to crawl back into this. Still at a CS discrepancy of about 20, but with that Avarice Blade and having his 2 primary AD items completed, he's relatively strong right now on this Jinx, especially because he's critting a lot for having only an Avarice Blade.
And I like this choice a lot from North. Going Econ, just going for Berserker Greaves.
Yep.
Don't even go for the crit cloak. Doesn't happen yet, unfortunately, but Boots 2, double AD items been a pretty standard of Chinese AD carries.
It'll now be a question of, since he doesn't have the crit right there and Corki has completed the Trinity Force, if OMG will approach to contest this dragon. Effectively, they need a pick because they cannot take a 5v5, especially with North so low econ in his build. He's not set up right now for a 5v5. He's set up for pushing towers.
Yeah, and if they can do that, great, but they know they have to fight around this next dragon, or at least make sure they do something about it. If they
trade an objective or something.
Actively choose to give it up, whatever it is. Here's Loveling, gonna barely miss getting hooked there by Lei. Did have the spell shield, you have to think, so not in too much immediate danger, but OMG are moving people to the bottom side. Sky and Xiang actually still keeping themselves in the top lane. Neither of them really want to teleport, but they will on a moment's notice. Come on, no top laner ever really wants to leave the top lane. Their teams force them to leave.
And both these top laners are all about the flank, too.
Yep.
So it's all about who's going to get that better flank. The Righteous Glory is not complete for Xiang yet, though he does have his 2 key resistance items, or at least the ingredients completed for both the MR and the armor, so a little bit more sustain from him in a true 5v5, whereas Sky's just bringing the damage. So
smart from Xiang as well, tracking Sky there,
to push it
cancelling that back. Yeah, he's got Home Guard boots. He had one plan there, but OMG start the dragon. They will get it as Loveling smites it away. They'll teleport down, they'll find Lei. That's an amazing pick now as they run in as Loveling dives in onto Wushu. Valkyries to safety. Cool though, not done at all. Dives in onto MLXG. Q almost landing in for Nocturne as the teleport's going to come through for Sky. Cool wants the pick. He doesn't quite land the orb on the way back as North going to get dove by Sky, but Xiang making everybody so tanky with that ultimate. Cool going to get another kill. Loveling's forced to flash away as Woosh chasing him down. Dodges the rocket, needs one more. Pops a scrying orb to try and get him down. Needs maybe one more auto. Valkyrie's in, gets a crit just for the kill. Woosh is so good at this game. And RNG will get the trade 2-for-1 in OMG's favor.
That looks so much better for OMG. RNG do manage to shore up a bit of it on the back half just because Sky was able to go back, heal, buy the home guard, and then teleport back in. So the back half of the entire exchange, they managed to get something back. That's a great job on OMG, especially on Sky. Like you said, pressing forward, Xiang, pressing forward on Sky, making sure that he couldn't immediately teleport and giving them the advantage to take the dragon.
And then tanking all that damage once he got into the fight. Cool barely missed the kill onto MLXG with the Orb of Deception, not quite landing on the way back there. Xiaohui, though, will get damage done in the mid lane, takes out a tower in the mid lane on Azira's. Woosh takes one in the bottom side. All of a sudden, despite the dragons being equal, RNG find themselves 2 towers up, and as a result, 1,000 gold in the lead.
And again, it's the difference between prioritizing dragons versus towers. What do towers give you? Global gold.
Yep. And space around the map, which is something that we normally associate with a team like OMG, but right now, it's been OMG that have been chasing these kills and RNG that have been chasing structures. I almost feel like the teams have somewhat reversed in the way they play, at least for this series.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's definitely an evolution of both styles.
Ooh, Lei getting caught up though. Roaming a little too far forward, finds 3 members of OMG looking to kill him, but he flashes out of the way. Jinx ulti goes wide there as well as Lei somehow finds himself scot-free there in the top lane.
Why is Lei so good?
I don't know.
I really enjoy watching him play. I think he's the unsung hero of RNG, the most consistent member, and he's a huge playmaker for them. Him and MLXG, anytime they team up, magic happens.
Might start writing more songs about Lei, to be honest, after this series. He's starting to gain more and more praise as we see him play, just in general in the LPL, but especially in this series. His Thresh in particular, We used to joke about Chinese Thresh, kind of like Korean Lee Sin, if you guys remember that joke back in the day. How every Korean player could just play Lee Sin because he was such a good champion.
Yep.
Thresh is, main for a lot of supports for a reason, and for a while, that was all we saw in China. Lei still showing that, hey, this champion's still pretty good, and I'm really good at it. Amazing find Sky. Don't know what he wants here. Lining up a Pulverize, though, just going to be annoying. Buy some time there for North, who crits the back wave there to take it out. Does have Berserker Greaves now, so he's good to go. Although horribly behind in CS, actually. Still playing catch-up to Woosh.
Yeah, that's a big difference. You should think about 13 to 15 CS will equate to a kill's worth of gold. So he's got about 2 kills on him.
Yeah, I mean, just the one extra assist for North being the only other advantage he has. So behind for certain here is Woosh. Is going to be stronger anyway with the Corki. Going for Blade of the Ruin King second. Might opt into something different, but does at least have the build toward a Cutlass for now. And this is the big 2-item Corki build. You want to go really deep and duel people and do a lot of damage in the mid-game? Sork Shoes, Blade of the Ruin King, Trinity Force. That's where you want to be.
And likewise, it empowers Corki to push down these towers because he's able to get those Sheen procs and start whittling them down in chunks.
And that's what RNG have been doing, looking for that third outer turret there in the top lane. Cool, though, trying to make a mess of that situation. Dives in onto Lei, gets a great charm landing in. Arcane Smash will knock him back after Twisted Advance, and dodging the hook with the last tick of the ulti means Cool gets himself a nice clean kill.
And that's the micro trick to Ahri, is that obviously it's easier to hit the charm if it has less distance to travel. So what you do is you throw the charm while you're in mid-ult, as opposed to throwing the charm, landing it, and then ulting.
It's almost like Cool's played an awful lot of games of Ahri. That was a nice kill to watch.
It's almost like it's one of his actual signature champions.
Yep, absolutely. As he takes the top turret as well. That's a good trade. But Sky really working the bottom side. Xiang will be here in time to take it away. But Sky's been so annoying right now. Going to get dove on there. MLXG actually down, going to finish the tower instead. Abandons his teammate but can't get the tower. Xiang's forcing 2 people off this one.
Oh, here comes Loveling.
Yep, Loveling going to flying it now on the MLXG. Amazing landing up as the slow lands there from North. Chompers down, Pulverized, good. MLXG is dead. Xiang gets credit for that kill.
The W back onto the Chompers. Great CC lock, although they did expend a lot of ultimates. Dragon will be up in 1 minute 30, so you'll have that Paranoia back up and available. But RNG have a slight window where they can try to make a trade here, either through that top tier tower or possibly a skirmish.
I don't know if OMG have ever been upset to use multiple ultimates and get 1 kill.
Doesn't it look like 2013 OMG?
It has looked a lot like 2013 OMG. Honestly, for the last half of the split, it's been great to watch. It's cool. Looks for another pick on Lei. He is 4 levels ahead of this support, but Woosh is equal. Now going to dive in. The hook does land. Cool. Going to be the one in trouble this time. Amazing comes to save him. We'll get him out as the Spirit Rush covers enough distance, but Xiaohu finds Amazing. That's going to force the ultimate out. Pulverize, and the charm's going to land in Xiaohu. Forced to back away is Amazing. Just needs a couple autos. Gets the headbutt. Takes the kill with the ignite. And now Amazing going to chase down Woosh as Void Rush gets used, but it's the wrong side of the map. Jinx ulti rides in, does not connect onto Lei. Doesn't quite land, but Xiang able to clean it up.
I think it was actually the Twisted Advance that stopped Lei, but hold on. Oh, he flashed!
Cool going through. Woosh almost gets another crit to secure the kill. He wants it. He's going in aggressive. Cool needs to find a few more skills. Charm not back up yet, though. Woosh completely out of mana. North gets the slow. Charm will land, and Amazing gets the kill.
Amazing double kill over the whole course of that. I think the Jinx Rocket didn't land because the Twisted Advance just stopped him short. But what a beautiful flash from Woosh to dodge the initial charm to try to find the outplay on Cool. But beautiful collapse. Big issue is the fact that Corki did not have any mana, so unable to throw any rockets there.
Out of spells there was bad news there for Woosh. But Dragon now back alive means the teams can reset and see what work they can get done. Good push in the mid, though. North and Xiang teaming up to equalize those turrets now. And all of a sudden, OMG are the ones with a gold lead, and MLXG's forced to tunnel out despite trying to check for Dragon Vision.
This is completely different OMG than anything that they've shown for this entire split. They used to be all about the structures, and that was how they would get their gold. They'd immediately open up the map, find a gold surplus off of the global gold that the towers would give, and then look for 5v5s. This OMG is like, nope, let's tower dive them. Let's fight them.
Yeah, again, very old school OMG, very bloodthirsty. And Loveling on Nocturne, I think it's been the really big starter for that sort of play here. Is they're going to take another tower, starting to prioritize a couple more easy structures to pick, so they'll get them away. That's the 3 outers down, and they immediately collapse onto the Dragon.
This Jinx is starting to get very scary. Now has the Infinity Edge complete, has the Avarice Blade, has had it for a very long time, but will surely look towards the Static Shiv with that pickup. And I love Static Shiv on Jinx versus Fan Advancer.
Why do you love Static Shiv on Jinx, Frosco? And as OMG are going to get themselves the dragon.
I love Static Shiv on Jinx because of her Get Excited passive. And if you have to think that the Get Excited allows her to charge up the Static Shiv pretty much twice as fast as any other carry, and if you micro appropriately during it by orb walking correctly in between your auto attacks, you can get probably 3 Static Shiv procs instantaneously in the Get Excited
Gonna
passive.
have a tower dive instead. Zhao, that doesn't work! Ulti not able to keep leveling out of that as Cool gets himself the kill. Emperor's Divide denied there, although Wish did get the tower in the top side of the map, so things are starting to equal out just on basic metrics, but OMG are miles ahead in kills this game.
Yeah, but still, RNG doing decent job shoring up the goal discrepancy, make sure it's not getting too far out of control. They need to appropriate their resources and look for a successful 5v5, because right now they're just frankly getting kind of out-rotated and out-picked by OMG.
He's really getting out-leveling right now. He is diving every ultimate looking for a kill, usually when Cool's involved there as well. So the bromance still brewing strong here between the two veteran Chinese players. As 3,000 or so is the goal. They'd make it, no, that's still 3,000. Matt's hard.
Should be. Okay, so this is, no offense to Uzi. Should be noted that when Uzi is on OMG, he is the primary shot caller for the team. And Loveling was the other primary shot caller, so if you think about the two different OMG squads separately. And the primary issue of one of the reasons that Loveling and GoGoing, you know, saw the bench is that there was some issues with shot calling on the team, that Uzi wanted to be the primary shot caller. Too many cooks in the kitchen, if you will.
That's interesting.
Cool's pretty much the only player who hasn't wanted to shot call for OMG over the course of their roster. So the difference between these two games, Uzi being the shot caller, Loveling being the shot caller.
It's a lot more bloodthirsty with Loveling shot calling.
He has, apparently, he never reveals it in interviews, but he actually has a very peculiar way about how he thinks the game should be played. And it's my way or no way.
I feel like, even if he's never said that, you just have to watch Loveling play to see exactly how he likes to play League of Legends. Especially this game, going full Nocturne right now. 0, 1, and 6, doing a nice support job here. And he has actually gone full tank. He's just more about being a backline threat, diving in, being annoying more than anything else. Doesn't want to assassinate, doesn't need to hard carry. Going to leave that all up to Cool. He's honestly there just to tie up carries. We saw that in last time. Xiao, who literally can't keep Nocturne away. I didn't know that interaction, but you do not stop the Nocturne charging past your ultimate.
Yeah, there's nothing that Xiaohu can do. He has to wait until Loveling connects to his target before he can look to reset a fight, but there's just so much backline potential from OMG.
He has to pop the spell shield then as well, remember? So if he mistimes that ulti, he's going to look really silly. Which is sort of what happened in that last tower dive. As OMG are looking for a charm, lands there for Cool over onto MLXG. Trying to get the tower down though, but not group with them yet. Actually just going to push on his own and take this turret instead.
And this is the beauty of Jinx, is that she is so good at melting through towers.
Yeah, it's gone. Melting at the last hit, gets excited, gets away. Kwanzaa Chomp is actually amazing, going to dive in. Everybody gets into the backline. Xiao and Woosh already dead. Lei's going to be the next one as he tries somehow to get out safely. Looking for the assassination, does find Cool. Sky though, the next target after a flash coup from Chiyoung's. Going to keep them chasing down onto the tanky Hecker, and he will fall as well. North will get a triple kill, and MLXG, the last one left standing, but they'll break the base instead.
What a performance from the sub for the star 80 carry Uzi. North coming up huge right now. Had a bit of a choking point early on in the game, went low econ build, but sat back, let OMG kind of carry him into this mid game, is now starting to take over.
I'm going to give North maybe a best supporting actor Oscar here, but amazing and Loveling really worked that initiation in time with Chiyoung. We talked about them not being on the same page maybe in game number 1. That was a beautiful 3-man engage.
Yeah, we talked about the fact that Cool had to be the hard engage for that last fight, game 1. This time around, amazing. No fear, going and finding these multiple knockups, and Loveling leading the charge with the paranoia. Completely different form of OMG from first game to this.
And it's just been, again, the freight train back in business, it feels like. Sort of put some fuel back into the engine. They've got it chugging. 6,000 gold ahead as we watch this again.
And again, it really all just started with amazing, starting that the headbutt. But this is what I really want to point out. Chiyoung right here, following with the twisted advance, having the perfect window of opportunity to find that W so Sky couldn't get away, flashes him forward, then knocks him back. And at this point, North is just melting through RNG.
Yeah, he's had 2 items in that fight, now has 3 items, so absolutely.
That's the power spike for Jinx.
On top of item timings, maybe a Vampiric Scepter away from being truly comfortable, but certainly just fine. Even Chiyoung, obscenely tanky at this stage of the game. 4, 1, and 6. Probably gotten more gold than he's gotten all season in just this one game. But he's got a Spirit Visage, a Righteous Glory, and a Frozen Heart. Doesn't even need boots too, apparently.
This 5v5 is oppressive from OMG. Jinx is up and running. I mean, effectively, you have to take advantage of her before she has her 3-item power spike. She's one of the strongest hyper-scaling AD carries in the game, especially because she has an AoE potential to crit.
It's not bad.
Not bad.
It's not bad at all. Is the old Jinx? I mean, we've seen a lot of strong Jinx players in the LPL. I think this year, actually, Deft obviously being the big one, but Mystic's had some good games. I feel like Jinx isn't as popular as maybe the power of the pick suggests, but when she's played, it's usually with good reason, and teams, they know how to work around Jinx's power. And right now, North holds all of the power in this game. Even Cool, he's only 2.5 items through. He's doing just fine, but North's doing even better.
Still should point out that Wushin has still managed to hold his CS lead on top of North, so 270 to 219 still. Jinx, that power spike, 3 items.
I mean, Wushin's consistently kept up about 50 CS, so I agree, it's been a great job here, but Sky needs to get tankier here. Azir's actually pretty far behind. Xiao went for Void Stuff second. Just
to try to be low econ with his build so he could do damage mid-game.
Yeah, but I mean, we've seen Azir, he does need, you know, usually 2 big items, often 3 or 3.5, kind of like your standard late game carries to really get going here. Just not quite there yet. And Xiang, he's split pushing there on the bottom side. Good charm there into MLXG. Sky tries to get in, gets denied by the Chompers, and Xiang gets a free turret in the bottom lane as a result.
Really nice use of the choke point. Unfortunately, RNG didn't pull the trigger quickly enough to take advantage of the fact that they had a numbers advantage on the top side of the map with Xiang taking that inhibitor tower.
He's doing damage to this other tower there as well. Tier 2 went down. Inhibitor tower takes some damage, but not enough. Sky does not have his teleport now, though. Can only interrupt his teleport with either E or ultimate. So if Xiang finds a spot, OMG might do exactly this. Start Baron and have amazing tank damage for some reason.
It's a little bit of a risky Baron just because it's technically still 50-50 since our MLXG is alive and up. And even though he doesn't have vision, of course, Tremor Sense from Rek'Sai is just so powerful checking into dark areas.
Yeah, Sky also, even with that teleport, if he does get over there, also has another smite. So smart of OMG to not commit there. Instead, they'll line up for the Dragon that's now respawned, but they'll start things off with the Scuttle Crab. Azondi's Hourglass has also been completed for Xiaohu, so 3 items now on the carries here for RNG. If there was ever a time to fight, it might be now, but OMG are going to start things off by 2-manning this Dragon.
Yeah, and RNG are just completely out of position. The second Dragon's not going to mean too much for them, and obviously they don't have any vision control of that area, so it'd be too risky to check into it. It's more important for them right now to go over to the Baron area and to clear out those 2 pink wards and set down some defensive vision for themselves.
Well, unfortunately, Super Creeps in the mid lane making that also a difficult prospect, so instead they'll just have to sit back and wait for that inhibitor to respawn there in the mid lane. Cool, shoving out waves very efficiently now with his Rabadon's death cap completed. And Loveling is building a Ghost Blade, because Loveling.
Assassination. He's got a Randuin's too.
Yeah. I think he has one job here. Shut down these carries.
Yeah, he just wants to get on top of either Xiaohu or Wushin and delete them.
And that's the nice thing about Randuin specifically as an item. It's actually quite good against both of them, which is rare.
Yep, because the attack speed slow on the Sand Soldiers.
Bit of health there. I mean, Corki does a lot of mixed damage, so the health's more useful than, say, something like a Frozen Heart. And Xiang's already got that front covered there as well. We saw it was pretty annoying already. Loveling's not going to be a damage threat as well, so look for him to really dive that backline and make a mess of things. The Xiang, I don't really know what they're trying to accomplish here, but Sky is, again, getting stronger. Needs to get towards the next big item, either a tank item or a Trinity Force.
I mean, eventually, Sky will win that.
Are you sure?
Xiang doesn't have any mana, that's the difference.
Oh, okay.
Although he might expend all of his mana in his helicopter Q, just trying to maybe take him down to half.
And then one auto attack stat magic. Gets all his health back from Spirit Visage. Look, I don't want to find out who wins that, so let's hope that
it would take a very long time to find out.
Far too long. Barmy Cinder Wars. My goodness.
Here we go, though. It is going to be the Baron battle.
I think you're right. Maybe Sky would win eventually.
He had more mana. If Xiang has full mana, full health, then there's no way that you're winning
if they're both full mana, full health, Sky might eventually win. But they're going to lose a lot of mana in the process. I don't know. I don't want to know. Also, oh no, we're here again. I mean, Xiang's just trying to keep Sky occupied. He knows that his team wants to take Baron. All he has to do is this. Just be annoying.
Yeah, and because his Twisted Advance cooldown and his Q cooldown are so long, Sky, if he wants to find this teleport, effectively has to completely run down the lane away from any sort of range.
And OMG smartly aren't pressuring too hard on the Baron, just making sure they have a superiority in vision in the area. Cool. Meanwhile, he's going to steal away the blue buff, although Sky's found him. Going to get locked down, actually. Blue buff did go over to, I think it might have been Whoosh, but it did go to RNG as OMG. With that blue buff steal, actually threaten this Baron. Yeah, MLXG's in the area. Sky will not make it, though. He does have his TP, but he's going to home guard in a little too late.
Whoa.
MLXG gets punted out by Amazing in the headbutt.
Here comes Sky.
And that secures the Baron.
Oh.
Oh, it's close. Couldn't quite get there. Now gets locked up by Twisted Advance. Charm lands in. Cool's going to get hooked, though. They'll get him as the trade. Now the fight breaks out in the Baron pit north. Too low has to flash up, but the ulti's going through. Xiang and Amazing doing nice burst damage, but RNG take out the carry. Now Lei forced to get out as Xiao Yu's going to get locked down by the tanks and taken away. Lei will fall as well. Loveling's coming back in for more damage, but Whoosh, he's doing too much. Xiang's going to flash out. Amazing will die, and all of a sudden Baron goes to OMG, but the team fight even. 3 for 3.
They only make it out with 2 Barons if Xiang can get to safety here.
He's getting to safety so far. Whoosh, though, is chasing him. Does Twisted Advance to a minion, buy himself some time, but Whoosh still tracking him. Rek'Sai's just close enough with Tremor Sense to be able to spot him. Now Whoosh going to go over Xiang, going to find the Gromp, goes off to it, doesn't have flash, so has to keep running. Good moves might keep him safe, though. Puts out another sapling and a ward just to slow down Whoosh, but he's eating rockets as he runs. MLXG, now the next one to come in. Baron up minions, not a help now. The slow coming through, misses that Q. That might just seal it, but he's still not dead. Running away as best he can. Pops his ulti to deny some damage. Sap Magic gets him. Help back chases onto Whoosh. Gonna go back in. Gets the kill. 1v2. And now MLXG, he's actually getting chased down. Loveling's in the area. Xiang's like gonna force him away. Loveling's gonna keep going. MLXG's now caught in a completely out of position. Loveling chases in. He'll tunnel out of the way. Lands into safety there as well. But Xiang, what a play across the map. Pretty much.
The Spirit Visage gave him so much health back on the passive. That was absurd. Okay, restock. They've got 1 Baron left on the side of OMG. It was such a close steal. Now, the big kind of misplay was actually from MLXG, not only in that crazy chase across map where he loses his 80 carry, but more importantly, trying to tunnel into the Baron pit way too early. Great play by Amazing as he knocks up Sky.
Caught out, but yeah, pulverized him, headbutts him back in. Cool. Lands the damage, but don't have enough to lock him down. Sky relatively tanky at this stage. Spirit Visage, Frozen Heart, and another Ruby Crystal in there. Gonna be pretty hard to pin him down. OMG look for a pick, do not find it. Instead, with the Baron buff, we'll see where they want to go, but Dragon is back in a minute 20, and that might just be the advantage they really want. They are still up, though, 8,000 gold, so OMG are firmly in the lead.
That said, they need to do a better job of their 5v5 and not get melted by Xiaohu. Again, they do have late game options. He went for that econ build by taking the Void second to make sure that he would have good mid-game damage, but now he's got the, oh, hold on,
yeah,
Sky.
Sky actually initiating, but it might be too soon. MLXG going to dive in as well. North needs to find safety, finds Cool instead. Amazing still tanking up at the front line. MLXG will get Kaida back and go down. Cool getting that kill. Loveling's dove in, but Xiang now tanking up the majority of the damage. A great ulti lands in. Let's Cool finish off the Corki. Double kill there coming in for Ari, and 3-0 up for OMG.
And that will be a free inhibitor for OMG. Beautiful Spirit Rush from Cool. Not only did he help peel for North by taking down MLXG, but then used his second rotation on Spirit Rush to go over the red pit wall and time perfectly with a nice rocket on Whoosh.
And it's just weird to see OMG playing so differently. It's much more
Cool focused.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, very much more Cool focused. And Amazing timing those initiations a little better, you have to say. Same champion, just a very different game.
He looks like a completely different player, in all honesty.
I don't know. Maybe he was yelling at him. Feels bad. I'm not sure. Hard to say. But North has been just fine here on the Jinx. Not stellar, not outstanding, but
doing his job.
Yeah, and he is, absolutely doing his job. And that's all you need on a team that's playing this well and this aggressively. The top side of the map for OMG, all of a sudden, like you said already, looking like their 2013, 2014 self.
They look exactly like old school OMG, playing to top side, playing to mid, but here comes Sky.
Diving in, 3-man ulti, fears them out. Cool gets flayed back. Lei has to try and get the kill, but can't find it. Xiang dives in. Sky taking too much damage. Will fall down. Xiang doing as much as he can to sponge the damage, but finally goes down. Lei will fall in and amongst it all, though, as the tower falls as well. Amazing dives back in. Loveling's gone absolutely ham. There's 2 kills. Whoosh going to be the last one as North chases him down, and that's the team fight ace as Loveling barely lives. Jinx gets the triple, and that might be game.
OMG with a risky sub on their star 80 carry decide to start North and go back to old school OMG. Low econ bot lane where they don't touch it. They focus on Cool, and Cool steps up. I can carry.
Yep, assassin play there on the Ari, a signature champion of a player with a long history and an awful lot of depth in that champion pool. And MLXG, who had the echo game of his life in game number 1, can only look on a little sheepish after that Rek'Sai performance.
Oh, yeah, we talked about how the OMG were going to change up their draft phase much stronger, but again, it goes back to the fact that when they're given priority pick, they have a much stronger win rate.
Yeah, and I mean,
Maokai.
Maokai's really good. I mean, it wasn't Sivir this time, but had the talisman from the R-Star. That was enough of a go button, especially with Loveling always able to dive in with a champion like Nocturne.
Amazing in Xiong, just looking so much more confident this time around to make those big engages. And again, it goes back to the fact that